Hey, it's Jessie, and it's time for Time 414. Okay, so wanted to talk to you. When we first started this channel, we had a bunch of different ideas and we tried some different things for videos. And about a year ago, we had a 3-day webinar event with guest speakers, and it was called Parenting on the Teen Train. So from that, we kind of ran with the title, and we had a section called Dear Teen Train Conductor, where people would write in their questions and we would answer them. And it was great. But the farther we got from the 3-day event that was Parenting on the Teen Train, the farther away we got from that writing into Dear Teen Train Conductor didn't really tie in because, 6 months later, it didn't quite make as much sense. So we kind of did away with that, and we want to bring it back because we get your questions and we want to be helpful. So far, I've been using your questions and kind of developing that into our weekly videos and, just taking the topics, but doing that, it's not quite as specific, and I'm not sure if it's quite as helpful. And meanwhile, questions keep coming in, and we're seeing your questions. If you're not one of our paid coaching members, or you're not using our parenting tech support where you can get a direct answer, I'm feeling a little bad because some of that's just falling by the wayside. So this is a good opportunity to say, visit our website, time414.com, where you can have a free consultation to see if our coaching services are right for you, or you can use our parenting tech support where, you put in your question and you get an answer back in 24 hours for a small fee, like when you go to the upper echelons of tech support for other things. So, okay, that being said, kind of a long intro, it feels like. We're going to bring back your questions and answer them. So right now we're doing videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm thinking one of the days we will have a topic. Like last week we covered cell phones with your teenagers and something else. Should have prepared and written myself a note. It's on there. Go check it out. But one of the days we would cover a topic and give you help that way, and then one of the other days we would tackle your questions. And I try to keep these videos between like 7 and 15 minutes, kind of a big range, more like 7 to 12, 7 to 10. Anyway, we try to answer your questions in there, one question or maybe two if we could get to two. It depends on the question. Some of them I can, answer quickly, and some of these are bigger and need more of an answer, and there's more details into the question. So give us a comment on the video here, or send us one through our website. But for this, figuring out which day, if we're going to do Tuesdays or Thursdays, drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you want to put your questions in that way, you can do that there too. Or again, you can go to our website, time414.com, and use the contact us. Send your questions in there. Or again, if you need immediate support or want something more on our website, you can sign up for a free consultation for our coaching, or you can sign up for the parenting tech support where you can get answers quicker. Okay, so we're going to jump in to this one and we're going to answer one of the questions. So the question was asked, this mom was texting her son. They had had an argument the day before, and she texted her son an apology, and he was like, okay. And she wrote back, and because she wanted an apology also. And the teen wasn't sorry because the teen didn't think they had done anything wrong. So I didn't get as many details about the actual fight. It was more this texting conversation the next day. And the teen had written that, well, you just want to argue about everything. So the teen didn't feel they'd done anything wrong because they didn't want to argue in the first place. And again, I didn't get specifics about the arguments, about what it was about, how it all went down. So we're going to just set that aside, and we're going to focus on the part that was sent to me, just the texting, because that's all I have to go off of. So when I'm reading through the text, the mom apologizes. The teenager's like, okay. And the mom's like, hey, you should apologize too. We were both arguing. But the teenager's like, I never wanted to argue with you. You turn everything into an argument. And then the parent went on going, well, right now I want to argue with you, but I'm not. So see, I'm not turning everything into an argument. But the teen's like, yeah, and you just said it. You want to argue right now. And the parent got all upset because they didn't feel like the teenager was listening to them. Okay, and I get it. but the teenager also didn't feel like the parent was listening to them. And I get it when you're a parent and you have an argument and you apologize and you want your teenager to apologize also. Because in your mind, you're both wrong, right? But think of it from this teenager's perspective. Let's take ourselves out of the role of being parent, take yourself into the role of being the teenager. They didn't think they did anything wrong because they never wanted to argue in the first place. Whatever had happened, whoever started it, the teenager never wanted to argue. So a conflict happened that they didn't want. And now as parents, of course, we don't always want to argue either. We always say that, but then we also kind of do. And I can admit as a parent, there's sometimes I'm not going to say I want to argue. I want to have a conversation. But when I want to have a conversation and there's conflicting ideas between me and my teenager, they see it every single time as an argument. They come down in 30-degree weather and I say put on a coat and they see that as an argument. So that is their perspective, and we have to keep that in mind, that first of all, our ideals of arguments are different. And when we apologize, any good apology is not given expecting anything in return. But that's how this started off. The parents started off apologizing, expecting an apology, and then in their head, everything would be fine. And that is how we think a lot of the times as people. That's what we want. When we are ready to apologize, we hope everybody else to it, and then we're done because we're ready to apologize. But that completely takes out of the account thinking about the other person. Just because we're ready to apologize doesn't mean the other side is, and it doesn't mean the other side thinks they did anything wrong. So if we're apologizing to get an apology, we're not really sorry. Or we're not really sorry for whatever we're apologizing about. Because if you are truly sorry, then you're just truly sorry. Your apology, your feelings of of trying to mend something or of having any, regret for your own actions is not contingent on someone else. That's a true apology, is when you are truly wrong, when you see that you should have handled things differently. And then that's how you feel. I have apologized to my teenagers when I thought they should also apologize to me, and they haven't. And I have to take a step back. Sometimes they should have, but that is not the time to bring it up because that takes away from my apology. They don't feel anymore like my apology was genuine if then I expect something in return. And think of it as an adult. Take yourself again out of this parent-teenager dynamic. Take yourself out. Put yourself in a situation with any other adult on this earth. If they apologized to you and then they expected something back from you, you would not feel they were genuine. How could you? Because an apology doesn't require anything from you. I mean, they're hoping that you'll accept it. They're hoping for forgiveness. But if they truly mean it, you don't have to do anything. If they truly mean it, they're just giving it. And we lose that as parents. Mostly because we have such ideals and high expectations for not just how our children should behave, but for our relationships with our children. I mean, I would love to always be close to my children, but sometimes that's just not going to happen. Sometimes they need space from me and they need distance from me to be able to grow. So again, with this one, with the actual argument, I'm not sure what happened. I'm not even sure the age of the teenager. I was just shown these texts. And at the end of it, there was no resolution. And the teenager is feeling even more distant from the parent. And the parent is feeling even more distant from the teenager. So my suggestion here, the way I think of these is if I just was, boom, in your shoes instantly with what has happened, I would tell the teenager, you know what? I'd say you're right, and I'm sorry. Because I do tend to get more argumentative with you. And although my motives are good because I want what's best for you and I'm willing to fight for it, I understand that that's not always healthy. And I would tell them, I really meant what I said, that I'm sorry about the argument. And I understand I just undid everything with that, with what came next. But I also need you to understand that I don't love to argue like you think I do. In my head, I'm doing something for your betterment, but I do understand how it's not coming out that way, and I'm going to work on that. Um, yeah, that's how I would handle it. Now, later on, depending again on the age of the teenager, depending on what the argument was about, later on I would bring up to them, hey, I've been working on this. Have you noticed a difference? Do you feel less attacked? Because here's the thing, I know that sometimes you feel like I'm arguing when I'm really not. And I know there's sometimes you have felt like I'm arguing when I'm arguing without meaning to. I understand that. But there's also sometimes that I'm just not. And you take it that way. And I understand why, because of all these other times. But as I'm working on this, we both need to recognize this gray area in here where it feels like I'm attacking you and I'm not. Because I'm working on all this other stuff, but I can't work on this. And ask them, be like, unless you have some suggestions, how can I convey these concerns to you and have them received well and not have them seen as an argument? They might have suggestions. They might be telling their friends, man, I know she cares, but I wish she wouldn't say it like blah, 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 blah. They might already have these ideas stored up here that they're not bringing to you because they don't want to argue about it. And they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to hear how they're wrong anymore. It's very possible. Now, they might not have any ideas. And then, maybe you could have some, or maybe you could say, maybe we can look at this together, or maybe we could look at this separately and Google some things and come back here, because what I really want to do is work on this relationship. So texting mom, I hope this helps. I know this isn't really what you were looking for, because it sounded like you were looking more for insight into the actual texting thread of who was right or wrong. Because you said, am I wrong in this? And the thing is, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that one interaction. It's bigger than should your child have apologized or should you have not have asked them to apologize. Because it's the relationship itself. It's what this is doing to the relationship. You want to feel like they see and understand you, but they want the same thing. And you might think you see and understand them, but if they don't think you do, then you probably don't. Or if you do, you're not conveying it. They don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. Just like you don't feel seen and you don't feel heard. But between the two of you, one of you is the adult. And that's why we're here, to help you redefine this, learn some new skills, and help rebuild this relationship. It's not too far gone. They're still calling or they're still texting, and maybe some of this shouldn't be over text. That's between you and your teen. I have had 4 teenagers in this house, and some of them do better when it's in writing, and some of them do better when it's face-to-face. And, that's between you and your teen. And even my teen who prefers to text, there's a point where I stop the text. And that has been a conversation between the two of us. I've said, I understand you prefer this method, and I get it, because when I was a teenager too, any serious conversation, my eyes used to tear up and water, and it was so embarrassing. So I get it. I totally get it. And I will respect that, and I can do that with you. But when it gets to the point where we're misunderstanding each other, it's done, and we have to be in person. Because misunderstandings just spiral when it's in text or email or anything written, anything where there's not that eye contact. And so that was our agreement. I was like, and that's where, I kind of pull the mom card. Like, I'm trying to be respectful. Honestly, I would do that with anybody where it's a misunderstanding. So I don't even know if it's the mom card. It's just the right thing to do, to not allow a misunderstanding to grow, because it will so quickly with any interchange where you're just typing words, because they're typing the words one way, you're reading them the other, and that thing's just snowballing, and you gotta stop it. Be like, I'm sorry, I know this isn't your preferred method, but we're not being clear with each other. There's too much getting in the way, and now we're moving to this stage. Because there are stages of communication. And some things can be handled via text, and some things can't. And you have to watch for that when it escalates. And watch for your own feelings when it escalates, especially when you're texting with your teenager. because your feelings are escalating, but is it real? Is that what they meant, or is that how you read it? I read things wrong all the time. I read my own notes wrong all the time. My teenagers continually think I'm mad. We've had enough conversations where they don't now, but even like if their friends read our text messages, they think I'm mad because I use punctuation. Punctuation in texting means you're mad. I told them, I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not mad. You guys know I'm not mad now, but I'm gonna put periods at the end of my sentences and I'm gonna capitalize the next sentence. Sorry. All right, again, if you can hear my cats meowing, I'm sorry about that. They just picked this end time. Maybe they're giving me like an ending signal to shut up. I'm not sure. But drop us a message. Let us know. Would you rather hear these on Tuesdays or Thursdays? Doesn't matter. And send us your questions because we want to make sure we're helping everybody as much as we can.